Welcome to this GDevelop 5 game development stream. Today we are going to be working on our server again. So now we need to make some functions using which we will be able to insert new users records, and we will be able to update them and all sorts of things. So let's start. Create a new file and just type php tags, and then save it with the name of, I guess, functions. I wonder if that will be correct. Okay, now first thing which we need to do is we have to require our config file. In the last video we made a config file where we stored our important usernames and passwords which were used to access our database and email server. So we have to include that file. How do you do that? You can use the require command. Require, and then you type the name of the file. Since our functions.php file is present in the same folder as the config.php file, we don't need to write the full path or something, right? We don't need to write the path. We can just write the name of the file, config.php, and it will include that file. And that's it. And now we will be able to use our variables like database username and database host name and all that, right? So that's important. And now let's make some functions in order to uh, update a user's data, insert data, right? That's it. And delete some users record, right? So let's do that. I will first go to W3 School because I don't remember how to write a PHP function. So let's see functions in PHP functions. So I will open w3schools.com and it will take me to tutorial something. So I can write them this way: function, write message, and hello world. That's good. Let me write. That's very simple. Function insert data, and insert user, add user, you can say add user. And if add user is made, we will also have to make remove user. And now I think we also need a update user function which will update the you know update what, that's also we need to uh, I think specify in the function name itself, because how many arguments will we pass? It will be a lot of arguments. Suppose we want to update everything, that's not good. Update user profile picture. There will be many functions to update everything. Update user password. This is important actually. User will be updating their password many times, right? And what else should we add? Profile picture password. We can also add something which will not be, you know, will not be called explicitly by the user. Something which our game will do. Our game can update score, points, coins. It can update all the variables, all the fields which are present in the database, like max health, bullet firing cooldown, attack power, and uh, all the upgrades. So that will be changed by our game itself. And I think I can just do that in one function. What do you say? And yes, one more function we have to use, fetch user, fetch user. I mean fetch the data of some user, which our game will be using to show the user their data, right? Yeah. And we can also, no, it's okay. Let's fetch user. We will fetch the user's data. We can also fetch uh, user leaderboard, and we will also make a function fetch. My spelling is a function fetch global leaderboard. Why you user leaderboard and global leaderboard? I'll be telling you why I have two functions to fetch leaderboard data. It's there is some use because we will not be having uh, at once. We will not be showing the user all the players in the world and their points, right? We will in the game we will only be showing the user their points and two people above them, two people below them, right? And we will also be showing them the top 5 players in the world. That's it. We will not be showing them a whole list of players in ascending order of their in descending order of their points. You will not be doing that because that will consume a lot of memory and it will be very hard to develop. That's why I have two of them. One to fetch user leaderboard, that is users local rank. I mean users rank and two people above the user, two people below the user. And by global leaderboard I mean the top 5 players in the world. That's it. That's why I have two functions, right? And I think that's all the functions we will need. I can't think of anything else. Maybe I can we can add more functions as we make our server. And now I want to open a connection to my database. And yesterday I in the database file, in the config file, I did not write the database name. So I must write that because that's important. So to get my database name, uh, I can open MySQL Workbench and get it from there. But I will just go to Heroku, and there also I have the database name in the ClearDB section. In the ClearDB add-on, I can see my database name. Yeah, there it is. Tool enter downtown, and resources. Wait, resources, ClearDB. It's taking its sweet time. So this is my database name. It will probably be blurred out when you will watch the video, but this is here around here. This name is your database name. Just copy it. I will copy it. Now I will close ClearDB, and now I will go to my config file and write the database name. Database name is equal to this whatever I copied. And for my email server also, for SendGrid, your host name is app.sendgrid.com. I mean that's actually where SendGrid takes you when you open it from Heroku, and that's actually the host name itself. So email server host name is equal to app.sendgrid.net. I believe it's sendgrid.net. It's actually app.sendgrid.com, right? So that's the host name for SendGrid. Now I will close my config.php file. So that's we are all set now, and now I want to open a connection to my MySQL database. So how do you do that? Uh, First thing is I will just type on Google, open MySQL connection PHP, because I also don't remember the exact command. I will just look it up. We will be using PDO, you know, PDO method to do all our database processing, because PDO method is the only method that is good. I mean, MySQLi is getting deprecated. That is why we should use PDO. Okay, there is a PDO. Server name, username, password. We already have it in our config.php file. And now this block of code, you can just copy that. It will open a new connection with our using our server name, database name, username, password, and then it will I think it will start some exception detection mode, I guess, and then it will echo connected successfully, and if there is some exception it will catch it, and it will tell us that connection failed because of such and such reason. So just copy, and in our file just paste it. I think I will make a function start connection, connect to database, and just put it here, and just make it a little good looking uh, and clean. Wow. And that is okay, that looks okay. Wait, yeah, now that looks okay. So that's our uh, code, but here we have to change these to I wonder if it will record my database host name. I wonder if it will do the database name. I wonder if it will, you know, check, take the data from my config file or not. It will, I think it does. It does do that. And then we need what username, database username, and then we need database password, database password. I think that was mhm. Okay, fine. It looks okay connected. So it will echo something. Don't have to echo anything. Or while we are testing, let's just echo something. Right? While we will remove this file, this line later. And now we have opened a connection to our database. We have made a function to do that, and now we can add user. We can make a script, write a script to add a new user. So I will just be looking at this. We have to close the connection after doing our operation. So to close the connection, should I make a new function? Can close close connection to database. You can close it like this, but I think you should not do that. I should not do that, because uh, connect to database, because there will be problems of scoping problems. Okay, I think that we should just cut this code and paste it in all of these, uh, so that we can open the database connection and close it within the same scope, because this variable is being declared in within this function, right? And we can't close it in another function. If we try to close this variable, con variable, in some other function, it will not do that. It will create its own variable and try to close it, which will not work, which will be useless really. And that's, I think that's how we should do it. Or you can actually make a global variable and open a connection in it, you know. Can do that, but let's just do it this way. Okay, let's not do it this way, because then it will be hard to debug anything. You can make a class, but I don't think we should really do that. Yeah. So I have made a global variable, and this variable is actually that variable, and it will this will refer to this variable now, and I will be able to close this variable in a function called close connection to database $con. Oh, will it work? Or we can just do this, cut this line and paste it here, so that we have made our variable here, and now we can work with it in any of the uh, you know place, any of the functions. But just do this, move this, just type it here. That's work, but no, this is okay. This will work. You don't need to think about it too much. Yeah. Okay. Closing the database, connecting to the database. It's actually connecting in this line itself. It's okay. I am still thinking that we should just connect it every time in every function and close it in every function. Otherwise, it will be too complicated and it won't work. Let's just do that way. It means writing a lot of extra code, but hey, as long as it works. So now that is the connection opening code. Now we will do some addition. Add. I will now uh, SQL query PHP video. Select data, or you can add insert data also. Okay, I'm seeing some commands for selecting the data. Yeah, this is good. PDO plus prepared statement. Uh, this is my statement. That's how I can write my query, my SQL query, and then I can execute it. Then I can fetch the result. But first, let me first write that. I will search for insert query. So that's what I want to do right now. So also, I also want to select data. That's how I can actually select. Just copy this. I will copy this statement, prepare, select. And first thing before this, we will be receiving our data from the game. When user registers their account, we have to first sanitize that data and sanitize host variables in PHP, and go to php.net and just look at how to sanitize. I think I will use filter sanitize string, and you can also use this for email. Filter sanitize email, filter sanitize string. So all these things are there. Let's see at some look at some examples. Filter where dollar this or variable filter sanitize string. Okay, this is a good example. Let us use this in this our variable in this way. So yeah, let me write this. We will be receiving data via post, and first of all we also have to check whether the data we are receiving is actually post data or not, right? So to check that, I will make a new function, check post data. Check check request type. Request type. Hmm, check post request. Check post request. I will go to php.net. You can also go to yeah, you can go to Stack Overflow. But let's see if it is there in php.net, because this is more reliable. Not there. So they have written some method. This user has given some solution for that. I think this should work. I will just copy this and paste it here and remove the comment. And if server request method is equal post, then we will return true. So how to set the return type in PHP function? I don't know. Return type, you can return anything and it will automatically decide the type. So that's good. Return true, right? Else return false. I wonder if true and false is written this way or this way. Let me check. True and false in PHP. PHP boolean. It's capital, totally capital letter. Can be totally small letters also. And yeah, it can be this way. All small letters, all capital letters. So then I will just use all small letters. Yeah. So this function will return true or false depending on whether the request made to our server is a post request or not. And we will only be accepting post requests. We will not be accepting any other type of request. So I think in every function you can just call this function check request type and put it inside if check request type is true, which means that our request is a post request, then we will simply be executing all the statements inside this function, right? Else else we will have to say something to the, you know, uh, person who is making the request, to let them know that this is not the correct type of request. So I will make a response variable. I will call it, it's a variable, okay. uh, it has to be an array, so I think I will put it like this. And I will also, no, that's okay, yeah. And like this, it's an array. And I think I also need a message variable. So let me see how to do that actually. Let me close all these. Should I not? I can close these, or should I not? Wait. Uh, JSON encode PHP. Now I will encode some messages in JSON format and echo them. Uh, let Why JSON format? You can just echo, you know, strings, but since we will be transferring data, lots of data, and that data will have fields in them, variables in them, we need to put it in a proper format, that is either JSON format or XML. PHP works very well with JSON, and I have worked with JSON before, that's why I'm using this. And yeah, so you can do it this way. You can create a response variable, and within the response variable you can type name field as something, and like that you can send all the variables back to the user, or take the variables from the user. Or you can make an array. I think I will do it this way. I believe that should work. Hopefully it will. And then I will have to encode the JSON. It is okay. So right now I will just type response is equal to null. It is just null something, right? And now response is a variable. I will type a comment. This variable holds the JSON data which we will to send to the client and receive from the client. Although no, we will not receive JSON data from the client. That's it. I think I can write it there, to the client. This variable holds the JSON data which we will send to the client. And now in else statement, but let me indent it properly so that you can look at it uh, properly, right? And all the statements are within this. Yeah, that's good. So if this is true, check request type. If our request type is post, then we will continue doing our operations. If it is not, then we will send an error message to the user or whoever sent the request. To do that, I will just add a message to my response variable. Message is equal to invalid request. So like this, the user will know that this request is invalid, and we have to encode this message, this response message, into a JSON message, and then send it to the user, display it on their browser or whatever they are using to post a request, to make a request to our server. So just echo it, echo JSON encode $response. That's good. Okay, that should work. Echo JSON encode dollar. We will first encode our response into a JSON file, and then send that JSON file, echo that JSON file to the person who made the request, or the machine that made the request, whatever. So this block of code, this if and this echo, this will be there in all the functions, right? That's good. So we have checked the request type, it is a post request. We still have to sanitize our variables. So first let me sanitize the variables here. We will be receiving email when the user is creating an account. He will receive email, he will receive password, he will also receive what else, username. He will also receive, will we receive profile picture? Yes, he will receive profile picture, file profile picture. What else will we receive? Let me put it capital letter, or let it be small. That's it. That's all the four things which the user will have to enter in order to, you know, uh, make an account. So to access post variables, you have to type it this way. Although we have not yet sent anything from our game, we will be sending them. We'll be sending variables this way only, by these names, email and password and username. So we have to keep that in mind, I guess. Password, username, and dollar post profile picture. So that's good, I believe. Yeah. Now we have to sanitize them. So just type email is equal to filter vars, whatever we read right now here. Yeah, filter var bracket our variable name and filter sanitize email or filter sanitize string or filter sanitize password. Filter sanitize, email and string. Filter var our variable and then filter sanitize email. This should sanitize our email and then store it again in our variable. Filter var password filter sanitize string. Simply string. Uh, Wait, why am I doing this? Filter var username filter sanitize string and then again profile picture is equal to dollar post, uh, not post, okay, filter var profile. Oh wow, I did that. Profile picture filter sanitize string. So that we have now sanitized our variables which we receive from our post request. And one more thing, we have to tell the user, we have to not let the user enter something which we will be sanitizing and removing. Or you can just tell them that don't put special characters, if you put it will be removed, right? And if someone is putting special characters which we are removing in the sanitize statement, then chances are that they are trying to gain access to our database, you know, unauthorized access. So we should avoid that. So just a regular user will just put their proper username password, right? Only someone who wants to hack into our database will put special characters and brackets and semicolons, right? So to guard against that, we are doing this filter sanitize string. I hope it works. And now, okay, that's good. uh, Now we will open our connection to the database. Okay, before that, I would like to talk about hashing. Let me close this. Let it be open. Uh, hash hash code PHP. Hash hash functions. We will not be storing our data in the database in plain text format. I mean, for a game, it's okay if you post it in, I mean, store it in plain text, but uh, because this is just a casual game. But when you will be making a commercial software or a commercial game, maybe you are making a game for a company, or maybe you are making a game for yourself, but it is a big game which you want to, you know, uh, publicize, and it's a big game, so you will want to store your variables in a hashed form, not in plain text. And hashed form just means that we have taken, like I write something. First let me see the PHP hashing function. So this is the hash function in PHP. You can uh, say which algorithm you want to use. Returns a string containing the calculated message digest as lowercase exits unless raw output is set to true, in which case the raw binary representation of message digest is returned. Hmm. So as you can see in this example, this is the algorithm name, I believe. Yeah, algorithm name, and this is the statement, the plain text. When you use this algorithm, this hash function with this algorithm, this will convert this plain text into something like this. So this is very cryptic. Nobody can understand that this means this, right? So that's what hashing does. So we'll be storing our values in hashed form, but I want to know how can I limit the uh, number of characters. So this guy is doing, I was interested how long each hash is, so I did this, and he found that these hashing algorithms output the hashed form of plain text in these many characters. I think you cannot specify the number of characters which your algorithm will be using, but I can see that these three algorithms are only using 8 bits, which produce long hashes or cropped. These algorithms produce 8 characters of hash code. So hello, but only for this 1 2 3 4 5. For five characters of plain text, it produces 8 characters of hash code. But in our database, we have actually set the varchar values to 10. Maximum length of our varchars, our variables are 10 or 2 or something like that. So I wonder if we will be able to use hashing. Let me type this. Let me see W3 schools. I cannot fix the length of the hash code. Fix the length hash code PHP. Oh yeah, this Stack Overflow question is there. Let me see if there is an answer to that. Hash function that generates a string with a given length. Having a hash of a small fixed length is practically worthless from both a security. Say you have a data block. Okay, whatever. It's a complicated solution. So we can do one of two things. I can either change my varchar values to 255, which will be enough to store hash hash values. I think I will do that so that you can also learn about the alter command. Alter command. So yesterday in the previous video we saw varchar in our MySQL command. Varchar is just a data type which is actually string data type. You can say it stores characters, it stores strings, and varchar means variable number of characters. If you set your varchar size to 255 or 250, right, in your variable, this is the suppose this is username variable and you have set varchar 250 in it, which is the data type, and 250 is the size. And if your username is just Roy, then your variable will not occupy 250 bytes, it will only occupy 3 bytes in the memory. So that's a good thing about varchar, that it's variable. I mean, otherwise if you just choose some regular variable uh, without varchar, I think there is a char variable too, which can, if you specify 250 in it, it will always reserve 250 bytes of data in the memory, right? It will always do that no matter how long your string is. So varchar is good because uh, it's flexible, right? We will, I think I will change all my variables to varchar, which we made yesterday. We will change all of them except other than the user id. We will change all of them to varchar 255. I hope that works. Let's see, because we have to learn how to store our data in hash form, because that's very important. So let me now open MySQL workbench. MySQL workbench. You may have a newer version of MySQL workbench, and I hope that it's similar, almost similar. If it's not similar and you are having some problem, then you can tell me and I will try to see if I can find some solution to that. I can guide you through the database creation process, table creation process. So I will open my Solenter Downtown database now. There it is. And now there is a command called alter table mysql. And this alter table command can alter the properties of our columns which we have made in MySQL in our table. Alter table drop column, modify column. We have to modify our columns. Alter table name, modify column name, data type. That's how we can modify our columns. And can I modify multiple columns at once? I think I should be able to do that. I think I can do that. Let's type this command and see if it works. So just first I will have to type use, because I have to tell the database management system which database I want to. So I will type use and type my database name. So I have typed my database name. I hope it's correct. Now I will run it. So it's working. And now I will type alter command, alter table users modify column. I will type my column name. First column was I think it was username. It doesn't matter which was first and which was not. You can just type it like username. It was varchar 10, but now it will be varchar 255. And next password again varchar 255. Email again varchar. I wonder if this command will work. That I just need to. Maybe I need to add some bracket there. Let's see. Username, password, email, profile picture. Varchar 55. What else was there? Username, password, email, profile picture. I think for now I will only change these. I think I will put them in a bracket. In bracket. Now it's showing me an error. I think you don't have to put brackets here. So this command syntax unexpected. Uh, should I write columns? Is that correct? I will just run it and see if it works. I will just run this command and see if it works. Username, password, email, and profile picture. It says it's wrong, but oh no, it's not working. So I will do it one by one. I guess I will have to do that. Alter table users modify column username varchar 255. So it's working, and similarly I will just type change this to password. So you can see that password is a keyword, but it doesn't matter. You can still have password as the name of a field in your table. And email is also varchar 255. What else? Profile picture will also be varchar 255. There is one more thing that I want to do. I want to convert the column user ID. It was int not null primary key, and I also want it to be auto incremented. Int not null primary key auto increment. Auto increment. Let's see if it works. Oh, it's showing me some error. Wow. Wow. Auto. It showed me something auto. Primary key. It will be a int. It will increment automatically, and it will also be a primary key. Let me run this. Oh no, this command is wrong. Let me. Okay, I can just remove this and then run. Yep, that's working. And now let me describe my table to see what has happened to the columns. Just to the so I have user ID as int 11, null not, primary key and extra is auto increment. It will automatically increment its value. And these four are varchar 255. Now you may be asking why. Oh, I have to still convert validation and valid to varchar 255, I guess. Right or not? No, it's okay. Okay. So these four information are very sensitive. That's why we made them varchar 255, and we'll be storing only these four as hashed values, and rest of these can be stored as plain text because these are not very sensitive information. But email, password, username, and profile picture are sensitive. That is is sensitive information. That's why I converted them to 255. Rest of them can stay like this, and we will be storing hashed values of these fields in our database. And I have converted user ID to auto increment, which means that every time we add a user, the user ID will increment by one. That's it, right? So that's okay. It's good. So the database looks good. So let me close it now. Close MySQL. Let me open this. And now I need to calculate hashed values of these. Let me look at the manual again and see how people have done it. Hmm. Let me just look at an example. I can use this command, or let me get some counsel from the internet to decide which hashing algorithm is the best. There is a crypt function. Best, best. I think I will just use MD5 for this. I mean, it's a standard hashing algorithm. And let me talk about MD5 salt PHP. How to use salt's MD5 salt password. And you can provide some salt value which actually makes your hashing even stronger, but I doubt we need that kind of hashing. Hmm. I will just use regular hashing right now. As of now, we will see in future if we want to use something else. So this statement looks good. I will just copy it. I will paste it, and I will not echo anything. I will just type my variable name equal to hash, and I will type MD5, and I will just get the variable value email. Same for password, same for everything. So just copy that, paste it three times, and password. This should create hash values of our uh, variables. But I want to learn one more thing which I don't know, and maybe you can also find that out together. And where does PHP store the key of for which is used for hashing? I mean, MD5 PHP use the MD5 algorithm, but what key does it use? Key used in PHP hash function. I want to know how it hash functions. I think let me see, returns a list. I mean, there must be a key, right? MD5 key in PHP hash. Encrypt and decrypt. I think this will they can give me an answer. I will just type how does PHP hash work. Oh yeah, this can answer my question. Okay, 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 okay. So PHP generates a random key. You know, that's what this user is saying, and they said this article is good for understanding that. So I think I will just read it, kind of long. I think I will just read it and tell you what it is and how actually PHP does that. They are saying that it generates a random key when it is performing the hash function, right? Maybe it takes the value which I am supplying, generates a key from that value itself, and uses that key to hash it. I think that is what's happening, but I may be wrong. So I will just see that. So don't worry about that too much. So yeah, I think this much is enough for today. And in the next video, I will be storing these and also checking whether this email already exists or this username already exists. And I think we will also be going into the game and making an interface in order to send the data to our server. All this will be done in the next video. And if you are enjoying this stream, join me again in the next video also. So thank you for watching.